in the form of farming the countryside is the best possible way to get back into the Sigma grind set.
The DeepSeek.
All right, let's watch Fireship's latest. DeepSeek stole our tech.
Keeps getting deeper and deeper. After being deeply wounded by DeepSeek last week, OpenAI is now reportedly accusing them of IP theft. And to make matters even worse, a second Chinese model just hit the timeline. If you're just waking up from a coma, the legend goes like this. A Chinese hedge fund built a state-of-the-art reasoning model that surpassed OpenAI 01 and only spent $5.5 million to train it, then gave the world a 100% discount code to use it. That was devastating to big tech and especially OpenAI, who have been gradually trying to convince people that AI is hard and we need things like $500 billion Stargate data centers. Now, in order to get the AI hype train back on track, the new White House AI czar and PayPal mafia member David Sachs just went on the news and said they have substantial evidence that DeepSeek stole OpenAI's
When did you start watching Fireship? I watched some Fireship videos in the past, but especially since it's DeepSeek stuff, I think he's a great, valuable, very funny resource to summarize all the drama that's happening.
To fine-tune their models, a technique known as distillation that is strictly forbidden in their terms of service. The irony here is not only palpable, one might describe it as artificial super irony. You might remember how OpenAI vacuumed up the entire internet and all its copyrighted materials without asking anybody for permission.
He's like, oh no. Oh no. My plagiarism machine has been plagiarized. That's crazy. The machine that I created to plagiarize has been plagiarized. What is happening? Bro.
Elon accused them of scraping Twitter. George R.R. Martin and a bunch of other authors are suing, among many other lawsuits around the world. But I need to let you in on a tech bro founder secret. We do shady stuff and then ask for forgiveness later, because once a company reaches critical mass, there's no stopping it. Uber and Airbnb are prime examples, and thus far, OpenAI has mostly prevailed in their copyright infringement legal battles. In today's video, we'll take a closer look at the technical details of DeepSeek, how it bypassed CUDA, and try to find out if it actually ripped off OpenAI. It is January 29th, 2025, and you're watching The Code Report. My conspiracy theory is that OpenAI has been DeepSeek all along.
What I don't understand is, like, why can't OpenAI, if they are truly vested in advancing civilization, advancing society, okay, by improving and constantly training their AI, even though they recently turned into a for-profit model, despite the fact that it was supposed to not be a for-profit a for-profit company, because they were truly interested in advancing civilization by advancing AI. Why are they so upset that there is another company out there that is, you know, creating a open source competitive product? It doesn't make sense.
This was just the most genius marketing trick of all time to assert their dominance. I wouldn't put it past Chief Persuasion Officer Sam Altman.
He's just a con man, and he lies to everyone.
But now, OpenAI and Microsoft are accusing DeepSeek of distillation, where you take one big expensive model like O1 and use its outputs to transfer knowledge to a smaller model. Thus far, they haven't provided any hard evidence, but there are screenshots like this going around the internet where DeepSeek provides a response that should only come from ChatGPT. That's not a smoking gun, though, because this type of content is all over the internet now, so DeepSeek could have learned it organically. However, Microsoft, which provides the servers for much of OpenAI's compute, said they observed someone in China extracting large volumes of data from the OpenAI API, and they believe these accounts may be linked to DeepSeek. In other words, DeepSeek is basically Robin Hood stealing from the rich to give to the poor. Distillation generally provides better results compared to reinforcement learning.
Like, the two counter arguments against DeepSeek so far is one, and there is some, I think there's some truth to it, or there's a potential that it might be true, is number one, they stole OpenAI stolen information. The information that OpenAI sucked up, DeepSeek stole from them, which is a hilarious thing to say. And number two is that they actually used, like, they avoided the American sanctions and used a lot more processors than they claimed they used, I guess, right? Like, that's the other thing. And both of these are hilarious ways to attack the this competitive product, because like neither of these should be limitations that exist to begin with. Okay? Like AI and things of that nature, especially AI, should be open source. Like I don't understand how you can even attempt to engage in limitations, engage in digital enclosures on a concept that is born out of literally sucking up everyone else's goddamn data. And the only limitations that should exist are protections for the existing labor force, that like government should work hard to, one, ensure privacy, ensure some semblance of one, privacy and security against AI, and last but not least, ensure labor protections so that they don't get displaced, and that AI can be a tool, but it should only be used as a tool not to displace the existing labor force or to compete against like wage laborers in the field of art, for example, but rather a tool that those artists themselves can use if they choose to do so. Okay. Climate is also another aspect of this. You're right, and to also make sure that this is done as efficiently as possible and not as much of a suck on resources and destroying the planet. Also, I forget what I was going to say. My brain is not working that well. I've had to catch up on my sleep a little bit.
You actually feed the model new data with a reward function. Distillation is not controversial, and DeepSeek has models distilled from Llama and Qwen. In fact, you can even distill OpenAI models as long as you don't use the API to build a rival model, and that appears to be the root of OpenAI's beef. And get this, Alibaba just released Qwen 2.5 Max just minutes ago, and although it's not a reasoning model, it's an open model that beats DeepSeek v3, Claude, and GPT-4o on these benchmarks. And not only that, but yet another Chinese model called Kim.
Damn, dude. Jack Ma thriving after going on a little Chinese government trip. You see that? Many benefits that we cannot immediately foresee when the Chinese government comes in and says, hey, I've heard you talking shit. You're going to go on a little trip, okay? Yeah, they cleared his mind. It's important to do things like that. Sometimes punishment in the form of farming the countryside is the best possible way to get back into the Sigma grind set with a newfound appreciation.
A 1.5 just came out and apparently beats OpenAI 01. We're now in a China versus China AI race with the United States falling behind. Meanwhile, Europe is focused on other technological innovations like bottle caps you can't take off. Many people have complained that DeepSeek is highly censored, but it's relatively easy to jailbreak if you're a senior prompt engineer. But speaking of irony, last year Midjourney accused Stability AI of image theft, but none of that matters now because DeepSeek also just released the Jana series models, which do diffusion-based image generation, and while the quality is not as good as Stable Diffusion or Midjourney, it's yet another open source model you can use commercially, and that's good news for humanity. But another interesting detail about DeepSeek is that it achieved 10x better efficiency than other models, in part by not using CUDA, NVIDIA's proprietary platform for running code on a GPU. Instead, they used NVIDIA parallel thread execution directly, which conceptually would be similar to building a website with assembly code, and is just another example of how cracked these DeepSeek engineers really are. Now, another major criticism of DeepSeek is that when you use it on the web, all your prompts, data, and keystrokes go to China. If you care about privacy though, you shouldn't be using the internet anyway. Instead, you should use it locally like I did in this video on my second channel. But the most important trend here is that open source is winning. That means if you're a developer, now is the time to start building products people love. And you can do that with a truly awesome open source tool called PostHog.
Oh my God, I saw this. I thought this was a joke, bro. This is a real company. That's crazy that they named themselves PostHog. Actually insane. PostHog. Be for real, man. Be for fucking real.
Sponsor of today's video.
Anyway, no disrespect to to Fireship. Apparently,